Okay, alright, so they're all primed now, so they're all this colour. Alright, I did forget to mention a few things on the last video, on the last bit rather, because they're all one video, duh. Right, I do recommend that you wear gloves. I mean, I don't, but I do recommend that you do wear gloves just in case, because they do tend to get a lot of paint on you. The second is, I don't water down the Vallejo paints with any alcohol or any thinner or anything. I just do it straight from the bottle. If you're finding it difficult to get paint through the airbrush, then I do recommend you put in a tiny bit, mix it up properly with a brush. And I also recommend you get a mixing pot, which is something like this. Alright, so if you need to mix any paints or whatever, you put it in first, you mix it up, then you put the thinner in, mix the thinner in, and then pour this in straight into your airbrush. The only reason why I recommend that is because it stops from getting the thick paint in the airbrush, and you get a nice consistency throughout your airbrushing experience. What I've got now is I've got camouflage medium brown in my airbrush now. I'm going to show you how I do mine. Alright, so these have been, feet have been drilled out, and paper clips have been cut in half and put inside their feet with super glue. And there's a bit of a plasticine base on there. Some people use cork, but I use plasticine. It's relatively easy and cheap. And that's that. So what I do is I spray down, almost down to, so you get this sort of level of brownness. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, so as you look from the top, you can't see any brown, but if you look underneath, you can see the darkness. All right, and that goes over almost the entire model. Now, what I recommend is you go inside all the crevices. Okay, so as you're going along, make sure that you get a nice thick coat of whatever you like. Sword as well. I mean, if you're using a different model, then you know, just use your head a little. I mean, the paint's a little bit spitty. I have no idea why that is. Probably because it's too thin down, but I haven't anything in it, so it's just come from the bottle. So from the top down, it looks something like that. Let me just go around so I can see the camera, so I can see the angle better. Okay, so you're looking at, from the top down, you're looking at, so it's practically primer white only, and then when you're looking from underneath, it's all dark. Alright, you can't see very well in this light, so I do apologise, but that's how I do mine anyway. Alright, now I'm going to do the rest of the models, and actually what I'll do is I'll cut it short by here. So what I'll do is, say for instance you've got your khaki brown in there now, so which is the next layer, remember? So you got the 3 layers, so you've got the cam medium brown, the khaki brown, the radium tan khaki brown 50-50 mix, then the radium tan. Alright, so you fill up your airbrush with the khaki brown this time. Now this time what I do is I tend to go around doing a 90-degree angle, not a 45, which would be like that. Alright, it's a 90 degrees, so you can get just underneath the lip of the crevices. Alright, now you want to do a light coat first of all, alright, and then just do it all the way over and all the way around. Alright, so that the paint, the khaki brown, actually just goes under the lip of the recess. So true depth would be cam brown, but if you look at it from a slight angle, then you get the khaki brown. Alright, that's the other thing with plasticine, it tends to throw the paper clips out, but never mind. And then the 50-50 mix then would be a 45-degree angle, so you'd be like this, spraying it all the way around. Now you want to pay special attention to the cloak on these, I find, because you can get some really cool effects with it. Alright, so you just need to take your time with the cloak. Alright, maybe put a thinner nozzle on or something and just go over it lightly and just go gradually around, and then use your radium tan then for a top down finish. Now with the radium tan, you can be as brutal as you feel comfortable with. I recommend you starting off light first, because the transition from 50-50 to the radium tan is quite intense. You can go one further, maybe put a little bit of white on top, but I don't recommend that. And some of the sites that I've also looked at with zenithial highlighting, they also recommend you don't go pure white, simply because the transition is just too much. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll do another model now with the khaki brown, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the khaki brown layer, and then I'll do another one with the radium tan 50-50, and then I'll do the radium tan. Alright, so you can see the different stages, but it's relatively simple. You know, you can't really go wrong, and it's just foolproof really. So if you're having trouble with it though, don't hesitate to just get in touch with me, and I'll see if I can give you some more guidance. Alright, right, I'll give you a shot now of the khaki brown one in a second. Thanks.